Huh, that's odd. Moby, did you clone a microscopic version of yourself? Why do I not believe you? Dear Tim and Moby, what are bacteria? From Sarah. Bacteria are single-celled microscopic organisms, and they make up one of the 6 kingdoms of life on Earth. They're also the most abundant form of life on Earth. There's something like 5 nonillion of them right now. 5 nonillion? That's a 5, followed by 30 zeros. Even though they're too small to see with the naked eye, bacteria are all around us. They live in our food, our water, our air, and even inside our bodies. In fact, there are more bacteria inside your digestive tract than there are human beings who have ever lived. Well, I guess there aren't any in your digestive tract, but the ones in my digestive tract are pretty important. They break down molecules that my body can't digest by itself. And without bacteria, cows wouldn't be able to eat grass. Plants need bacteria too. They convert nitrogen in the soil into simpler structures that plants can absorb more easily. Of course, not all bacteria are our friends. Some of them can be pretty nasty, actually. Bacteria are responsible for strep throat, food poisoning, tuberculosis, and a whole bunch of other diseases. Don't worry, most of these infections can be treated by drugs called antibiotics, which kill the offending bacteria. Oh no, bacteria actually come in lots of different shapes and sizes, but the most common forms are rods, spheres, and spirals.
Some can't move, but others move using whip-like strands called flagella.
But whatever they look like, bacteria are prokaryotic cells, meaning that their nuclear material is not surrounded by a membrane. Right, unlike animal and plant cells, most bacterial cells don't contain many complex organelles. Inside their cell walls, they're pretty simple. There's a nucleus-like structure called the nucleoid, which contains genetic material, and also some ribosomes, which make proteins. But that's pretty much it. Some bacteria are able to generate their own energy through photosynthesis, and some survive by digesting chemicals in their environments. Most bacteria reproduce asexually in a process called fission. Fission produces 2 cells with the same genetic material as the parent cell. Some bacteria, though, exchange genetic material in a process that's closer to sexual reproduction. Well, 2 bacteria can exchange genetic material through a thin tube. Bacteria can reproduce very quickly, sometimes as fast as once every 20 minutes. Because their structure is so simple, bacteria can mutate really quickly too, which means they can evolve pretty fast. One thing's for certain, though. Life as we know it wouldn't exist without bacteria. Yep, bacteria are among the oldest forms of life on the planet. No one really knows the exact order of events, but it's thought that early bacteria evolved around 3.5 billion years ago, roughly the same time as other prokaryotes called archaebacteria, or archaea. And for several billion years, these guys were the only forms of life on Earth. Ooh, pretty. Back then, there was very little oxygen in the atmosphere, but bacteria changed all that. Through photosynthesis, they slowly filled the atmosphere with the oxygen we complex organisms now breathe. After all these years, bacteria and their archaea relatives are still around. You already know where bacteria live. You can find archaea in some of the most extreme places on the planet, like hot springs, salt lakes, and deep ocean vents with no sunlight. Gnarly, man. Seeing how these guys survive in such inhospitable environments gives scientists a peek at what life was like billions of years ago. I hope it wasn't like that.